Welcome, everybody, to our third edition of our football show, Sideline to Speedway. Here, I am your host, Mekhi Winfrey, as per usual, joined by Parker Merrey here. Um, a lot happened in the football world this week, as it did last week. Maybe some more underlying issues for some teams starting to break ahead, break out, and maybe some surprises that we weren't prepared for going into this week, came out of this week, and we have to be prepared for the upcoming week. But before we get started, Parker, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. There's a lot happening. Football season's back, and it feels great to be back. Because with racing, we don't have that much of an off season, but then with the NFL, we're out for like 9 months, and it's like, come on, man. I just want to get back to some football, and we're back. Very happy, to have football back in all of our lives, and a lot of exciting things to talk about.
I think one of our friends said it best. He misses seeing sweaty men try and hit each other for a ball. So I th it's
True.
I think that's a really funny statement. But I'm not gonna sit too much on this. We'll go right into what happened. I saw that. We'll go right into what happened for the NFL starting week two. Real quick, Thursday night football. Only only pre-Sunday game this week. Packers played the Commanders. They ended up with the win 27-18. I'll let you give your thoughts first on this game.
Yeah, I think I don't think, as I kind of said before the start of the season, I don't think the Commanders are a Super Bowl contender yet. I think that they could surprise us and take that next step to make the Super Bowl this year. I don't see it happening though. I think they have some holes on the defense that need to be addressed, and I think we've kind of Thursday night was a good example of that. We have a team like the Packers that did take a step towards a Super Bowl team with getting Micah Parsons, and they really had their way with the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. So a lot of work to do for the Commanders, but the Packers are looking great. They could end up being the Super Bowl favorite in the NFC. It's gonna be interesting to see. And the crazy part is Micah Parsons is not even he's
He's
not even playing all the snaps. What's
he's
gonna
like on and
happen
off
when
the
we get
field.
later in the year and he's on every defensive snap? The Packers are gonna be scary, scary. I tell you what, that's a tough team right now.
I think the Commanders, honestly, I'm not too concerned. I know they didn't have a great record against winning teams last year. I think this is the growing pain we're gonna see out of a team that does not have a fantastic defense and honestly lacks some offensive star power. They have enough where they can make a deep playoff run, but they will need to play at a high level consistently. And it being week two, they're gonna drop a game to a team that looks like they're just firing on all cylinders right now. I'm not too concerned if I'm a Commanders fan. It's a loss to a really good team, but the Packers do look fantastic. They're bonding really well, having all these young receivers, young players on the offense, especially for them to be able to play for like 5, 10 years, is fantastic. Um, and the one thing I do want to mention about them real quick, Jaden Reed got hurt, broke his collarbone. Um,
Mm.
that will take a bit of a hit to their offense, but they should be fine. Well, we'll get to it, but who they're playing this week, they should be fine. Um, yeah, I mean, we'll see how much that Jaden Reed injury affects them. They still got Tavion Wicks and Romeo Dobbs and a couple other receivers out there. So we'll see. But the Packers do look really good. But we'll move into our Sunday morning for you, I guess, Sunday afternoon slate. We had a lot of games in this window. I'll brush over this game real quick. Rams played the Titans. Um, I'll say this: the Titans and Cam Ward. Cam Ward looks like he is the meme where it's like, look at my brand new car, my really good car, and this really terrible house parking garage. It's that
Yeah,
Cam Ward
yeah,
is the nice car inside a terrible house
yeah.
garage. Um, he is living proof that a star quarterback, a good quarterback, will make you competitive. So the Titans do not look good. They don't have a receiver. Calvin Ridley's dropping everything. They don't have an offensive line. Cam Ward made I don't even know how to. You wouldn't believe me if I told you it's a 9 yard pass, but he made some incredible back foot pass across the field. That was somehow a touchdown. So incredible play. But the Rams again succeed 33-19. They look really good.
Yep. I think there's been a lot said about the Rams this offseason, a lot of concerns about Stafford, his the possibility of a back injury. But I think as long as Stafford's healthy, they're going to be in contention. And actually, the most impactful person in all of the LA Rams team actually got injured. Did you hear about it?
Who got hurt?
Sean McVay got hurt while coaching that game.
Did he
He
really?
had I'm not
What
even
did he
playing.
do?
He broke some ligament in his foot or
Oh my
something.
God.
So while Stafford's healthy, Sean McVay is dropping. He might have to coach from how the coordinators coach from those suites.
Yeah, he's
Sean
gonna have to
McVay
sit
might
up
not be
there.
able to be on the field anymore. But
We're gonna
yeah,
have
I
to have a
mean,
backup head coach step in.
yeah. So I mean, if
Um,
their biggest injury concern is Sean McVay
they're
right
fine.
now, I think they're good to go. They just
And
have to. If Stafford stays healthy, they're going to be a competitor.
they're also exposing Puka Nacua as a great runner as well, so that's good to see. Um, oh my gosh, I know you want to touch on this game. Seahawks end up beating the Steelers. What is that? 33, excuse me, 31 to 17.
31-17.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'll let you take the wheel here.
Yeah, it was despite what the score shows, it's a very defensive game. Seahawks had a lot to clean up offensively. A lot of their offensive woes kept the Steelers in the game in that first half. Seahawks actually doubled the Steelers' offensive yards, and yet we're still down going into halftime. But obviously, the play of the game that kind of just killed the Steelers' momentum was the kickoff touchdown. The first time we've seen a kicking team score a touchdown in almost 45 years. That was crazy to see. When I first saw it, I wasn't even sure what to think. I'm like, did we just score a touchdown?
I was like
I didn't
I was
know.
certain it was whistled a like dead ball. I didn't think it was in
Yeah,
play.
that was weird. And then George Halani hops on it. But I think the story of that game should be Seahawks have a scary defense. If they can figure out the offense, they're really going to be a team to be reckoned with. And the Steelers, yeah, they played a good front, but you'd like to see the offensive line hold up a little better than that. Aaron Rodgers was under a lot of pressure all day, and Steelers have a lot of work to do. Aaron Rodgers. It's also crazy how quickly the media will switch up on Aaron
It
Rodgers.
really wasn't as much on him as people are going to make it out to be.
Yeah, like week one, he puts up an amazing game and everyone's praising him. Week two, the Steelers lose, and everyone's like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's washed." Week one was a fluke. Like he is under so much unfair scrutiny. Like, just give him a few weeks. Let's see what he's got.
I would argue that the Steelers are not giving him much to work with because they don't, other than DK Metcalf, who I know you have very strong opinions of. I don't even think he's all that great as a receiver one, but he's their only receiver, it feels like. Who else do they
Yeah,
have? And on
yeah,
top of that, they have no offensive line, so a 40 whatever year old man is trying to run for his life to try and get Calvin Austin the football. Like, no disrespect to Calvin Austin, he does a better job catching a ball than I can, but still, my point
yeah,
stands. He's got no Rodgers has no protection, and he doesn't have an elite receiver, and he's still making that team competitive. Now, the Seahawks were the better team, and they won. The Steelers shouldn't have been in contention at any point in that game with the way they played, but I will credit Aaron Rodgers. They did look really all right on his behalf. The offensive line really needs some work. And the defense was a little scary that they allowed 31 points. It's very uncharacteristic of the Steelers. That could be either a testament to the good offensive what do I say, potential of the Seahawks, or it could say a warning sign for the Steelers. I mean, what do you think of that?
I think the what happened. So what I said about the Seahawks after week one was they need to open up the offense and get the pass game going, and that's what they did in week two. And I don't think the Steelers were ready for that. I think they were expecting a run heavy offense, and um and it wasn't as run heavy. K9 had a fantastic game, and the Seahawks really got the run game going with him. But other than that, and Jigba had over 100 yards. Cooper Kupp had an incredible game. He almost had 100 yards despite a lot of scrutiny. So, I think they were playing an offense that played a great game, but there are concerns about the Steelers. You don't see that defense give up 31 points like that. Well, the defense gave up 24
Well, same thing.
itself, but
It's a
still,
yeah.
still you'd like to see the defense keep it under 20, preferably if you want to rely on your defense to win games. But yeah,
I mean, I want to make one more comment before I move off this game here. To every single person that thought starting Zach Charbonnet in their fantasy, that thought Zach Charbonnet was going to be this elite first, keep in mind, first string back. Everyone who thought this, you need to rewatch film because Kenneth Walker is still that guy. And again, on the depth chart, Kenneth Walker is the number one back. I can't tell you how many people I ran into that had Zach Charbonnet in their fantasy. Were like, bro, why did Zach Charbonnet only put up 2.3 fantasy points? I'm like, well, because he's A, not the RB1, and B, because he's not an elite running back. I'm sorry.
He's not elite, but he's a good running
I'm
back.
not saying he's bad, but he's not even the starter. Like if he was on a team that he was the starter, I could at least see it. But he's splitting carries with a guy who that didn't even run the football as much this week.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just wanted to say that before I forgot. Another game that happened in the 1 p.m. slots for me at least. All right, we talked about your team. We'll talk about my team real quick. The Giants and the Cowboys duked it out in the fourth quarter. They go to overtime. First overtime of the season. Am I wrong on that? Right on that?
Uh,
I think it's the first one of the year.
yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, it is.
they had the first time with the playoff overtime rules that they have, where they both teams will get the ball. So that was nice to see. Well, it wasn't nice to actually watch, but it was nice to hear that we get that rule. Um, I don't know. I don't actually have much thoughts on either team. I think that honestly, that's just kind of division football. Both teams are really not all that great, but it was nice to see their offenses just pour on points and unload and see what we're truly capable of. Especially as a Giants fan, being able to know that we aren't limited to 6 points a week is fantastic. Russell Wilson looked like 2013 Russ for like two plays right there. That was kind of scary.
He's
If he
back.
if he can maintain that, which I don't think he will, but if he can, I'm just saying, look out. But yeah, he looked good. Malik Neighbors continues to look fantastic. I could make an argument he's top five right now. Um, the Cowboys they secure it after well they send it to overtime late after a 60 what was it 65-yard field goal from Brandon
64
Aubrey.
yard field goal.
Um, he nails that one. Both teams get two drives on offense. Neither do anything. Rush throws a pick. Brandon Aubrey kicks like a 30-yard field goal, gives them an overtime win, 40-37. Do you have any other thoughts on that game? I mean, there wasn't terribly much to actually dissect,
Um,
but
I think the Russell Wilson Malik Neighbors combo could end up being very deadly. Believe it or not, Malik Neighbors actually leads the league in receiving yards right now.
somehow.
And guess who's second?
Is it Wandale or is it Jackson
It's
Smith?
JSN.
I was gonna be like it's
So
one of
our
those two.
boys are getting it done right now. But yeah, I think if Russell Wilson can get his deep ball is still one of the most elite in the NFL. Even with the Broncos, it was still good. Even with the Steelers, it was still good. It's just he's limited in the intermediates, and that's how he was in Seattle.
The later years.
Looking over the middle, he just he's just not as efficient there. For him, it's the deep balls and the short passes as well. But um, so the Giants need to scheme around that. I don't always feel like the Broncos and Steelers did that. I feel like they asked Russ to do things that he's not good at, and of course he's not going to play well if you do that. So I would like to see the Giants kind of let Russell Wilson play a little more
Let
freely.
Russ cook.
Let Russ cook. Look, he's dangerous when he's throwing it deep.
That
You know
was
what
a
I mean?
terrible pun. I was a terrible
Bro,
pun.
come on now. That's like his Instagram handle or something.
I
But
know it's really funny.
anyway, but yeah, the concern that I have with the Giants is what's supposed to make them successful is the defense, and yet they just gave up 40 points
they
to the
allowed they've
Dallas
allowed
Cowboys. What is that about?
they've allowed
I don't.
61 points in two games.
Yeah, that's it. They've got to be one of the worst defensive teams right now, which
It's defensive
is pretty
backs.
concerning. It's pretty concerning because if Russell Wilson's not playing well, if the offense is not clicking, they're not going to be able to lean on the defense like they have the last few years.
I could argue that the front seven actually does look really good. They actually were pressuring Dak a lot. It's that our defensive backs look lost on the football field. Besides Drew Phillips, Drew Phillips looks really good, but yeah, our defensive backs are not great. And Russ leads the league in passing yards now, so good for him.
Yeah.
First time in like 5 or 6 years, I feel like that's probably been the case. Um, but yeah, another 1 p.m. game that we got to see, and this one was not as thrilling, I should say, but we got to see the Bills versus the Jets. I don't actually have anything to say here. Justin Fields is hurt. He's in concussion protocol. That's the only reason I really want to talk about this. Um, that Jets pick that I made, actually, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, they're 0-2." I'm gonna be like, "Well, they played well against a team that's like a 500 team." So I don't think a game against the Bills is really a fair judge as to how good this team is, considering nobody expects the Jets to go out and beat the Bills, and also that their defense just gave up 30 points.
That's some copium, Kai. I'm not
It's
gonna lie.
copium? That's
Yeah, that's
copium?
copium.
That's
Okay,
insane.
because dude, the Jets are not going 9-8 this year.
I,
They're not doing. It's
even if
not
they don't
happening.
go 9-8, but like even if they don't go 9-8, you can't like look at this game in particular and be like, "Oh, well, now they suck." Like they played arguably the best team in the league. I mean, is that a fair
That's a
comparison?
big statement. No, I
Arguably,
don't think it's
arguably best
no,
team.
I don't think it's a fair comparison, but I look at I think the week one game was a good look for Justin Fields, but a bad overall look for the New York Jets team because they're again kind of like I said with the Steelers, they're a defensive team. If you are not playing to your strengths, or like I said with the Giants, not the Steelers, if you're not playing to your strengths, it's more likely that it's a fluke. You know what I mean? If you see a team, if you see a super good defensive team put up a great defensive performance, you can chalk it up to, okay, that's a good defensive team. They're doing their job. If you take a defensive team and they have a good offensive game, it leads, that's just me, but it leads me to believe that's probably a fluke. You know what I mean? Because they don't do that a lot. So I feel like the week one game was just Justin Fields have put on a great performance, and the Steelers defense might just be bad this year, and we just don't know it yet. But 5 weeks from now, we're gonna look back and be like, look at those opening weeks. That was the beginning of the downfall of the Steelers defense.
I was just about to say that actually. I mean, it's 2 weeks in. We'll know in probably 2 or 3 weeks from now if these defenses are really good or if they were just having bad games or whatever the case is. So we'll find that
Mhm.
out soon enough. Especially for the Jets, they have a good test coming up. Again, I'll get to week 3. I really want to for that, but um, they look all right. A couple other games. I don't actually have much to touch on with these two in particular. 49ers beat the Saints 26-21. Okay.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Spencer Rattler looks all right, I will say, if you're a Saints fan.
yeah. I tell you what, there is for all of the Brock Purdy believers.
It's question marks, man.
Yeah, because Mac Jones just slid into that 49ers offense with Christian McCaffrey and with Kyle Shanahan, and he just went ahead and won that game. And obviously, you would like to see him win it by more, but it's not like Mac Jones played awful. He played a pretty good game. So, you know, the argument against Brock Purdy is that any quarterback can slide into the 49ers offense and be good.
There's
So
any quarterback.
now with this Mac Jones thing, we actually get to see it in action. We get to see what happens if you place Mac Jones or someone like that into this 49ers offense with McCaffrey healthy. Because I think as long as McCaffrey's healthy, you don't need Kittle, you don't need Jawan Jennings, you don't, they're good pieces to
They
have.
had Jawan Jennings, I think, that game. I think he
They
scored a
had him.
touchdown.
And they did not have
George Kittle.
they didn't have Kittle, and they didn't have some other receivers, and they only won by 5. So um,
They're better than
I don't.
that result shows, but I digress.
Yeah, I just so we're for all the Brock Purdy argument, a lot of fuel is going to be added to that fire with how Mac Jones plays. If he plays really well, that might be bad for the Brock Purdy believers. But if he plays bad, then people are going to say, okay, Purdy was doing a great job.
Purdy also out for this upcoming week, I think was confirmed, so we'll see another Mac Jones start. By the way, before I move on here, Mac Jones was good in 2021. Let's not act like he's never been good. So it is possible. It is possible that he is trying to fight for a starting job as like a bridge quarterback for a team in the future. So just keep that in mind as well.
You know what it is? It's the 49ers cycle. So we had Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
Once
he
he
went
got
to
hurt, Trey Lance
Oh,
came
from a
in.
Patriot to a Niner too. That's funny.
Yeah, and then Trey Lance got hurt, so then Brock Purdy comes in, and now Brock Purdy gets hurt, so Mac Jones is going to come in and lead the 49ers to a Super Bowl.
Oh,
I'm telling you, man,
don't put that in the universe.
Trump.
Don't put that in the universe. Um, Another game I don't really have much to say on here. Another just star quarterback torches a what was supposed to be good defense. Well, I wouldn't say that the defense played bad. The Ravens beat the Browns 41-10. Dude, DeAndre Hopkins I don't care what you say about his speed, his route running at this point, his age. He still has hands. That dude can catch anything, I swear. Because Lamar, I don't even think he was getting this ball all the way down there. He chucks it 50, 60 yards down the field and right into the breadbasket of DeAndre Hopkins. And that I got ruled at the 1 yard line, but should have been a touchdown. Regardless, D Hop looks good. The Ravens look good. The Browns defense, front seven wise, looks good. Their defensive backs concerning. I don't know if you have anything you actually want to talk about with this game.
Um, so I think, I mean, not really. I think it's so the last 3 years the Ravens have always lost a game to the Browns. They've always dropped one. Usually it's their away game. But so I think there was definitely a chance for the Browns to win this football
The
game, but
chance.
yeah, and they kept it close for a while. I mean, it wasn't a blowout like some of those Ravens Browns games are, but ultimately they didn't really stand a chance. They're just a little undermatched right now. Um, and I'd like to see a rookie get the keys to the vehicle at some point in the upcoming future because
Shador
the Browns won't.
Sanders.
Yeah, or Gabriel or just someone because the Browns right now they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to be good. It's time to get one of these rookies in and see what they got.
Joe Flacco, I'm sure, would not take it personally. Um,
Yeah.
couple more 1 p.m. games here. We got to see the. I know we're gonna have a debate on this. We got to see the Bengals play the Jaguars in what was actually a really thrilling final few minutes of that game. Um, I want to say one thing on one player. I know you have a different comment on another. On the Jag side of things, Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
One really bad drop, really bad drop, right? They're late in the goal, like on the goal line, would have been a touchdown, but he just I don't even know. He just like dropped the football. He wasn't watching it. He was watching. He turned his head literally to see where the linebacker was behind him. He wasn't even watching the football. There was multiple instances of him not wanting to get hit. I want to quote out Theo Ash. I know he's a football analyst. On if you guys ever look him up, he has this take. I wanted to bring this out here because I thought this was a really important analysis. It seems like Brian Thomas is more focused on a grab and just falling to the ground, and as compared to making the play and just using his body and his hands to just get the yards that he needs, which is odd considering he's such a good runner after the catch. Like he was great at that last year, had so many yards. So um, it shocks me on that front. But Bengals pull out the win 27-24, I think it was. So good showing for the Bengals.
I think it was
Was it?
34.
Am I
30, I
wrong?
think it was 34, yeah.
Oh, 31-27. Okay.
Oh,
I'm all over the
31.
place. I'm all
Okay,
over the place.
31.
We're both wrong.
Yeah. I just
Bengals
remember
win.
yeah, 31. All right. Yeah, we saw Joe Burrow go out early, and I thought that was going to be the end of them. I thought there's no way they're going to win this game or many other games the rest of the year. But it was a gutsy performance by Jake Browning to come in and lead him to the win. Um, but we're going to see what happens in the upcoming not just weeks but months. It's likely Burrow misses the rest of the year, and
Unless they make the playoffs, I think it is.
yeah, if they make because he's missing at least 3 months, and that's probably a conservative estimate. He may be back around Christmas time. That's best case scenario, I'd say, for Bengals fans. But even then, you're getting him for weeks 17 and 18, probably, right? So it's not looking good for the Bengals. If I had to guess, I would say their playoff hopes are all but over now. But maybe they have something up their sleeve with Jake Browning. Who knows? But I do have some serious concerns about Joe Burrow because this is now a third injury, not just a small injury, a serious injury that pretty much ends his regular season. This is, and I know a lot of it has to do with the offensive line, but the argument, there's an argument against every other position for players that are injured. For example, think of Christian McCaffrey a couple years ago. When he's healthy, he was the best running back in the NFL, but he's not considered the best running back in the NFL because of his injury concerns.
Saquon had the
Why
same
doesn't
thing until he got to the
Yeah,
Eagles.
why doesn't this apply to Joe Burrow? He's considered right up there with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Can we really consider him to be up there with those three when he can't even finish a season and hasn't made the playoffs in
three
what's
years.
looks like going to be 3 years in a row? This is getting out of hand. And I know a lot of it has to do with the offensive line. He's constantly getting hit, but I think he needs to get out of Cincinnati because I don't think his career is going anywhere as long as he stays with the Bengals.
I tend to not. I tend to agree on a front. I think he is injury prone, and I do think a lot of it falls on the Bengals. And I agree. I think he needs to get out of Cincinnati. The one characteristic that I think changes the narrative from him being ranked lower is that there is such, and I mean, and I know CMC, especially as a running back, is so great. There is such a drop from fourth to fifth in QB rankings for most people, right? You have, well, let's just say, Mahomes, who hasn't been injured basically for more than a game. Allen, I'm just putting him two for reference. I don't think he's ever been injured, and if he has, it was just mid-game and he got back on the field. And then Lamar, who has only missed maybe 10 to 12 games in his career over like 8
Yeah, he missed
years.
some games in 2022, but
That's
he's been
about it.
healthy otherwise.
Generally, he's been healthy, so and he would think he'd be the one hurt considering how much
Yeah,
he uses
exactly.
his legs.
He's
So,
been running around and getting hit all the time.
but no, he's on the field most of the time, and he has been for a few years now. Joe Burrow is that kind of odd man out because he's hurt. That team hasn't been in the playoffs since they lost to KC in the AFC Championship game. And that team consistently looks like they are weak at the start of a year. And I know they're 2-0 right now, but that is despite Joe Burrow. That is not in accord to him. That is accord to how well their defense accord to how well their defense is playing somehow, which I did not think I'd ever say entering this year. But they kept them in that Browns game. They kept them relevant in that Jaguars game, plus the mistakes the Jags made on offense. So question marks around Joe Burrow. Jake Browning went 3 touchdowns, two through the air, one on the ground, and then he had 2 picks though. So we'll see. It might be hero ball this year for the Bengals, but
Mm.
um, it'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna keep moving along here. To make sure we get some time for week 3. One more 1 p.m. game. We have the Patriots play the Dolphins. The Dolphins and Mike McDaniel. It looks like this experiment's just about over, right? I don't really want to harp on it. I think we talked about it a decent bit last week, but Dolphins just again another subpar performance. They look close at the end of the game, but most of the game they were really out of it. They kind of got. I will say they had an incredible kick return for a touchdown with oh my God, what was his name? I'm blanking on his name right now. They
There
had
was a
an
couple in that game. There was
yeah.
a lot of
There well
returns.
there's
That
there
was a
was two. I was gonna say there's one. I can't remember
great
who the
game.
Dolphins. I don't remember who the Dolphins player was. I remember that the Patriots when Antonio Gibson took it back immediately after and scored himself. But yeah, Tyreek Hill looks done in Miami. The defense looks depleted. They have no pass rush. Their offensive line doesn't look great. Tua looks lost. Just many problems in Miami.
Yeah, I think the Miami Dolphins had a hot shot, former offensive genius, still an offensive genius, and Mike McDaniel come into that team, and they figured something out with Tyreek Hill and with Jalen Waddle. They were able to attack the field deep, but the problem is the team has no backbone. Every time we got into the playoffs, they would crumble, especially in those cold games. Like you think of the
Chiefs
cold
game
game in
especially.
KC a couple years ago. Yeah, that was the best. That would probably you'd consider that as well to be the best Dolphins year under Mike McDaniel. Like they were legitimately a contender that year. Tua was an MVP candidate, but they got into the playoffs and in that cold weather they just crumbled. Mike McDaniel, and I'm gonna quote my dad on this. Having a comedic head coach is great until the losses start adding up. You can, Mike McDaniel's kind of a goofy head coach. That can fly when you're winning. But when the Dolphins start losing games, as we saw them lose last year, they went what 7-10, 8-9,
They were
somewhere
around
around there.
500. Yeah.
Yeah, right around 500, losing a bunch of games, something that they really hadn't done under the Mike McDaniel era. We started to see them crumble. And Tua has his injury stuff. Tyreek Hill seems to be very weak mentally right now. Just that is probably the weakest team in the NFL, and just in terms of the mental, physical, the strength, the coaching. Mike McDaniel is on the hot seat, and actually, it's probably going to be good for your guy Brian Daboll. He was coming into this year probably the number one coach on the hot
I
seat,
don't even think he's
but
top
he's going to
three
be
right now.
overshadowed by this Mike McDaniel stuff.
McDaniel's going to be on a hot seat. There's another coach I want to get to. He's going to be on the hot seat. So Um,
Bryce Callahan, we already skipped him. Everyone's
we
calling
skipped
for his
him.
head.
He's number one. Mike McDaniel's
Yeah.
number two because Bryce Callahan's number one. But yeah. I don't know. The Dolphins kind of just they look out of it. I just think Jalen Waddle also looks kind of hurt with his shoulder. I know he's been nursing that, so that they just kind of looked lost on the field, honestly.
Hmm.
Let's move to our late afternoon games. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I almost skipped this game because it was such a excuse my language here. I'll enunciate it. BTA. The Lions beat the Bears 52 to 21.
BTA.
Well, I'm gonna make that a chant. We'll have something go on. Uh, the Lions beat the Bears 52 to 21. It was really 52 to 14. They got a late garbage time touchdown. You want to talk about on the hot seat? I know he's not gonna be, but Ben Johnson has serious question marks around him as a full-on head coach right now after that big of a loss as your second game as a head coach to a team that looked decimated by the Packers the previous week. And
Yeah.
I don't actually have much to comment on for the Lions, but I want to say everyone was so worried about the Detroit Lions. They're like, oh, are they cooked? They lost their coordinators. Are they going to do all right? Both their coordinators have started the season at a combined record of 0-4. The Lions just won 52 points. So
Hmm.
my question is, who really is the one that lost out there?
Well, I personally, I still think the Lions definitely lost out on that one, and I still have concerns, because you had one bad game and one good game. Which one's the truth?
We'll know next
One
week.
of the games was against a Super Bowl contender, and one of the games was against the Bears, which are a mediocre team and disguised as a Super Bowl team. Let's be real. But kind of having this conversation about the Lions and Bears. I want to draw a comparison. So Ben Johnson has now gone 2 games without winning. Dan Campbell went 12 games without winning, 11 or 12 games.
Yeah.
Multiple months into the year when they finally beat the Vikings and got that first win. But so I give Ben Johnson time. He has a very, he has such a complex offense in Detroit, that a genius like Jared Goff is,
Smart dude.
he's a smart dude. He doesn't necessarily have a rocket arm, or he's obviously not fast or anything. He doesn't have a lot of those physical attributes. But when you paired him with Ben Johnson, that duo was elite for a reason. It's because you had two geniuses that knew what was going on and had each other figured out. Caleb Williams is the complete opposite of Jared Goff.
He is all
I'm not
attributes.
I'm
That
not
dude has
saying
got a
he's
cannon.
dumb or anything, but he has the physical attributes, and so it's a combination that's going to have to gel. And Ben Johnson also is all offense. He was an offensive coordinator. Now, to be an offensive coordinator, you have to have a lot of defensive understanding, but can he get this defense to really get to the elite level it needs to be if they want to be contenders in the next coming years? I think it's going to take a lot of time. I would not count on the Bears being competitive this season. Maybe towards the end of the year they start to show flashes. But if Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams can figure it out, they're going to be really deadly. And then looking at the Lions, a good game for them.
Amon
I
Ross
saw a
St.
lot of
Brown.
concerns about that team. Yeah, St. Brown, Jameson Williams had a good game. Just Jameson Williams had an incredible play. He almost scored on. I don't know if you saw it. It was like a 80-yard
I
catch. He
saw
had two
that. Yeah,
catches.
yeah, yeah.
He had two catches for like 90 something yards, and almost all of them came on one reception. But um, you know, they have a lot of dangerous weapons. They're gonna have to fill the holes on the offensive line and at the offensive coordinator position and see if they can figure it out this year.
Yeah, the Lions look really solid, though I'm not as concerned. I wasn't concerned, period, but I feel that people should have their nerves calmed a little bit with that type of game that they just put up. These 4 p.m. games, again, nothing crazy happened. I'm gonna get to the Super Bowl rematch in a split second. Colts beat the Broncos 29-28, late field goal. It's the Indiana Jones Colts. They're 2-0. I don't know how long it'll last. It could end this week for all we know, but hey, Daniel Jones second in the league in passing yards. They've scored on all but 2 drives, I think. So I'm just saying the Colts do look impressive compared to what we thought, but
They've
Broncos
yet to punt the
defense,
football.
huh?
They've yet to punt the football this year.
Uh,
They have turnover
yeah,
on downs, but
yeah,
they
no, no,
haven't
yeah,
punted
no, no, no,
it.
yeah. Just blanking out there. But
That's
the Broncos defense lets up 29 points again for whatever reason. Defenses have not existed throughout these first few weeks of the season, but Broncos allowed 29 points. They come up just short. Bo Nix looked much better this week than he did last. I'm less concerned about him. Do you have much to say here on this game, or
um, yeah, the Broncos are just a messy team. I did not have a lot of confidence on their abilities coming into this year. Um, I had them going 9-8 and missing the playoffs. But I think, the first week they had a lot of offensive struggles, and the second week the defense did not look that great. And it was a lot of coaching miscues at the end of the game that really cost them. I mean, you had the whole leverage situation at the end. Um, and then even before that, Sean Payton was like he was calling timeouts for the Colts. He was helping them out, and also ridiculous play calling about the Colts at the end of the game. Everyone's praising Daniel Jones, but you want to know who does not have confidence in Daniel Jones?
Shane
It's the
Steichen?
Indianapolis Colts. They literally ran the ball. They had 8 plays at the end on their final drive to get in the field goal range. They ran the ball 6 times. They had more confidence in Spencer Schrader to kick a 60-yard field goal than they did to let Daniel Jones throw the football. Like, look, Daniel Jones looks good. The Colts do not trust him. They
I don't
know
blame them
this
to
is
be
a
fair,
fluke.
but
They know it's a fluke.
I don't blame them to be fair. But I
Yeah.
digress. So worth noting. I really don't want to touch on this game, but I'll just say it. The Cardinals beat the Panthers 27-22. Nothing really happens in this one. Cardinals were up 27 to, honestly, really nothing happened. Cardinals were up like 27-10 or 27-9 or something. Bryce Young ends up trying to mount a comeback. There's a pick, no, turnover on downs late. Cardinals ends up holding on and winning. Just Cardinals move to 2-0, Panthers 0-2. Nothing crazy happens there. Super Bowl rematch, Eagles and Chiefs. This game was maybe the most boring game of the week. Well, actually, sorry, second most boring game of the week. Uh, I don't know. There really wasn't actually much going on in this game. The offenses looked stagnant, to be honest with you, until the end of the game. Eagles end up holding on 20-17. They go 2-0. Chiefs are now 0-2 for the first time since 2014, so 11 years ago. Um, yeah, I mean, the game itself, I don't have much to comment on, but I could talk forever about the Chiefs and how they are in dangerous territory right now.
Yeah, I think the Eagles Chiefs game is a product of what you get when you get two very sound, very clean football teams that are very, very well coached. Not a lot of mistakes, very low scoring affair. The defenses came to play. Um, and Jalen Hurts won with barely over 100 passing yards, I believe. He might not even have hit 100 passing yards, but it was just the Eagles went in and they did their job, and the Chiefs went in and did their job, all but besides probably 2 plays. You had the four right out of halftime. They went for that 4th and 1 in their own territory and did not get it. I think that was a mistake. I think that was an emotional call. Um, because the Eagles have had their number. And so I think the Chiefs feel that they need to do more in order to beat the Eagles when in reality, maybe you just play the game like you always play the game and maybe they win that. And then of course the big mistake was the Travis Kelsey drop in the end zone that resulted in an interception. Um, just a huge miscue there. A lot of Chiefs fans have not been happy with Travis Kelsey lately, and that is one of the examples. He broke Xavier Worthy's leg last week by running the wrong depth of route. Um, and then this week, drops that pass on the goal line and results in a pick. Um, lot of bad mistakes for Kelsey. And the Chiefs drop a game to go to 0-2. Now they do play the Giants on Sunday Night Football next week, so you know, plug your ears, Kai. But I think the Chiefs are going 1 and but I do think there are little concerns with the Chiefs. The defense improved, I will say. They looked a little better this week, but a lot of offensive issues. They need their receivers back bad.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, they just going into this game against the Giants, they need to win. I doubt they lose. I'd be shocked, to be honest with you. But yeah, don't want to fall to 0-3. No 0-3 team has ever won the Super Bowl. So maybe we should keep our hopes up. Uh,
Yeah,
Sunday Night Football. This game was. I'm sorry. I said the Eagles Chiefs at first was the most boring. This was the most boring game. Uh, the Falcons win 22-6 against the Vikings. I Nothing new. I have no comments new on JJ McCarthy. The Vikings look the same, honestly, as they did last week, except they played a better defense. And the Falcons, it was all field goals until their last set of scoring, where they scored a touchdown with Bijan or with Tyler Algier, excuse me. Um, so yeah, I mean, Penix to Bijan looks good. Um, Moving over to Monday night, Bucks played the Texans. They ended up winning. I want to talk about one thing on this game. They Bucks won 20-19, but they should not have won this game. Todd Bowles, if you
yeah.
did not win this game, it was your own fault, and you would have been fired the next day because Baker. They had a minute when they got the ball back. Baker drove them down the field, right, and they have to score a touchdown. And you know, Baker. I don't remember what the play was. I think. Do you remember what it was before like 20 seconds left? I think he threw it and it was caught by one of the receivers, and then
Like
instead, huh?
at like the 6.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was yeah, it was I think it was a throw, and then with like 20 seconds left, two timeouts. Todd Bowles doesn't call a timeout, and now I know everyone's thinking like, oh well, you want to take time off the clock, you want to make sure that the Texans don't get the ball back. Like you have two timeouts, and you're down. You need a touchdown. You got bailed out by the fact that you had to score that rushing touchdown with I think it was it Rashad White who actually got in the end zone, I think it was. So um you got a little lucky right there, Todd Bowles, because if you did not score that touchdown, you would have had your head called for it the next day. But Bucks win 20-19. Do you have any thoughts on that Todd Bowles call?
Am I? How much time was on the clock when they scored the touchdown?
Like 6 seconds. Well, yeah, six
Yeah,
seconds were left.
okay. I honestly don't have a problem with what they did then.
No, but I'm saying it got
It was
lucky.
second and goal
Yeah, but they
when they
got
scored.
what we're saying is they got lucky because if they don't score, it wasn't 6 seconds left. Like once they ran the play, it was 6 seconds left after the play. But
Yeah,
the problem is that they didn't use one of their two timeouts, and they ran the football the play after. Like they were like running hurry up, and they
I
didn't. It was just interesting play calling.
I don't have a problem with it. So, okay, it's second and goal with 6 seconds left. Let's say Rashad White gets tackled at the 1. You use your timeout. Now it's third down, 6 seconds left, one timeout. In 6 seconds, you can easily get 2 plays off, and you still have one timeout left. So you could even run on third down. So let's say they run on third down and again don't get it. You call a timeout and you have a second on the clock and it's fourth down.
Yeah, but
See,
theoretically, with how their offense was,
mathematically, I don't have an issue with
but
it.
theoretically how their offense was moving, I'm saying like you could have just put it in the end zone. You like there weren't. I don't understand the weight there. I get it in a way, but I also don't. I think it was risky play calling that they kind of just got a little lucky with personally.
So I don't have a problem, but what I do have a problem with actually is what they did after they scored the touchdown. They're up by 1 point. There's 6 seconds left in the game. So the only two things that can happen when the Texans get the ball is they either fail the Hail Mary or they get the Hail Mary. They can't get a field goal in 6 seconds. I guess technically a defensive penalty, but you don't see defensive penalties on Hail Marys. So the Bucks up by 1 have no mathematically you should go for 2, but use your brain. A 5-year-old knows this. There's no reason for them to go for 2 in that scenario. Because what if Baker throws a pick too? You just lost the football game for no reason at all. In 6 seconds, the Texans cannot get a field goal. I
Well,
guess the only
well,
scenario is they return the kick and they get it all the way down in field goal range and then get taken down with a
well, no,
second.
because the
But
Bucks.
that's unlikely.
No, because the Bucks. What happened is when they went for two because they're trying to make it a field goal ties the game. Because what happened is if even if they don't get it, they're still up one. So a Texans field goal, if they kick it, it'd be a 2 point game. So if the Texans somehow got a field goal, they'd win. And if they didn't get the 2 point, they'd still win. So it really didn't matter in that case. The Texans.
The Texans can't get a field goal.
No,
There's 6 seconds.
I understand they weren't going to. That's my point. There's no problem in going for two because you're just ensuring
Yes,
it.
there is. What if Baker throws a pick too, or what if Baker fumbles the football and the Texans recover? Then the Texans win the football game.
I honestly I don't have a problem with that.
Bro,
I have a different view
come
of that.
on.
I think they did it the other
It's
way
zero
around wrong.
reward, 100% risk. There's no reason for that to happen.
Well, also, I mean, I guess it didn't really matter because they kicked it to a point where the Texans had to just run out the clock at that point, so it didn't matter after that play
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
They that that was
Um,
interesting. But yeah, the Bucks survive, and then the other Monday night game. Dude, do we have to talk about this game? Like, do we got to talk about Chargers Raiders? I don't think anything happened.
we can touch on it.
Yeah,
I don't want
go ahead.
to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to because I love Geno Smith.
That was rough.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
I mean,
So
three picks.
yes, I get it. I get it. Yeah,
Yeah, three
but
picks.
yeah, yeah. You want to go through like in air passes past 10 yards, 0 for 10 completion. You want to say that one
Yeah,
too?
you know what
All the
else we
way
could throw out there? They
across the
scored
world?
3 points, or was it 9?
Yeah,
This,
this for 9 points.
sorry, they had field goals. I'm sorry. They was 0 for 3 all night. I
Yeah,
think the Chargers had more offensive yards than Geno Smith did passing.
bro. Now you're just rubbing it in. Like,
So like, yeah, I mean,
all right. So
whatever.
Geno Smith had the worst game of his entire career. All right, we got that out of the way. Chargers look great. I love what they got going on defensively. A little bit of woes on offense. On some points of the game, like you think of the failed fourth down attempt at the end that kind of gave the Raiders life again. But so I think they still have some work to do on offense. But defensively, which is that's what they were last year. They're a great defensive team. And so they're picking up where they left off last year. So I like what I see out of them. And honestly, right now, I think they're going to win the AFC West from what I've seen.
I'm not even gonna acknowledge that take. I'm gonna leave you have that take because I want to get to week 3 real quick because my opinions on this week's games will exactly tell you what I think of that. So leading into week 3 here, we have all 16 or all 32 teams playing, so 16 games again. Bills play the Dolphins on Thursday night. Simple enough. Bills win. Dolphins don't look very good.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel might be fired after
Might,
that game.
might.
I think Mike McDaniel's career might be over after
Maybe.
Thursday Night Football.
Maybe we'll see. I'm just I'm gonna rattle off all these games here. Bengals play the Vikings. It's backup versus backup. By the way, McCarthy's out. Carson Wentz is the starter. Give me the Bengals. I think Jake Brown is just a better backup. Texans play the Jags. Jags look better on offense, but I would not bet the Texans go 0-3 to start the year. So give me the Texans. Colts play the Titans. Colts, I guess, because they're just on a hot streak and there's no reason for them to lose to the Titans of all teams.
3-0, wow.
So I think they'll go 3-0. Raiders play the Commanders. This game could get ugly or could be really close. It could honestly go either way. But give me the Commanders. I think they're just an overall better team. Rams play the Eagles. This could be game of the week. I'm actually going to take the Rams on this game.
Ooh.
I think the Rams are a more complete team right now. I think when we get to later in the season, I think the Eagles always play better. But I think right this moment, the Rams are looking better. So I will
Sean
take.
McVay's hurt.
I'm real concerned. Give me the.
On a serious note, I don't understand that. How the Rams could be a more complete team.
I just think that they are playing better. I think they're playing football here. They better playing football. Then they're playing better football
Yes,
here.
they are playing football.
I think they're playing
Also,
better football.
They beat the Texans by 5, and they beat the
Titans by 14.
Scores.
I'm taking the Rams here. Falcons play the Panthers. Just give me the Falcons. They look all right now. Steelers play the Patriots. Give me the Steelers. I think it'll be a defensive game, but I trust Aaron Rodgers' experience. Packers play the Browns. This might be 60-0. Give me the Packers. Jets play the Bucks. This will be a fun game, I actually think. By the way, backup is in this week, which, oh my God, Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's playing this week. Give me the Bucks. Broncos play the Chargers. This could be a fun game too. I actually think the Broncos take this win. No. I'm gonna backtrack on that. Give me the Chargers. Chargers take 3-0 lead over the Broncos. Saints play the Seahawks. This game should be a Seahawks win. I'd be shocked otherwise. Cowboys play the Bears. Give me the Cowboys. I'm not confident on that. Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a 50-50 game.
Cardinals play the 49ers, and a hurt 49ers team, a Cardinals team that looks inconsistent. I'm going to take the Cardinals, but I think it'll be a field goal game. I don't think the 49ers are going 3-0.
Yeah, like 3-0. Yeah.
No, 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 like 20-17, like a low scoring field goal
Okay.
difference game. Um, Chiefs play the Giants on Sunday night. Chiefs, if they lose this game, I think I have more concerns about the organization than I do anybody on the offense. But yeah, Chiefs give me them over the Giants, and then the Lions play the Ravens. Game of the week on Monday night. That should be fun. Give me the give me the Detroit Lions. Give me the Detroit
Oh,
Lions. Give me the
snap!
Detroit Lions. I don't trust Lamar Jackson in a Monday night game against Detroit only because I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to play a factor in who wins this football game. So
Boom!
I'm
Drop the
giving the
mic
Lions. I'm giving the
in
Lions.
Baltimore too. Wow.
I don't know if
All
you want to
right.
speed run there, but if you have anything you want to comment on,
All right, here we go. Speed run. Give me the Bills over the Dolphins. Give me the Patriots. Give me the Steelers over the Patriots. Give me the Bucks over the Jets. Give me the Commanders over the Raiders. Texans, Jags. I'm a little conflicted on this game. It's in Jacksonville, but do we really see the Texans going 0-3? I'm not too sure. I think I'm going to go Texans on this one. I think I agree with you on that. Rams and Eagles. I think it's preposterous to say that the Rams have a better overall roster. I no, I don't.
go
I don't.
ahead.
I don't. I
Take
do
your
not see
Eagles
that.
pick. Go ahead.
Eagles are going to win that game. It's in Philly. They're both 2-0, so it's a really big competitive game. Could be game of the week. Who knows? Colts, Titans. I actually have the Titans winning this football game. It's in Tennessee, and I think that Cam Ward is due to finally win one. He's already been playing pretty well. For a rookie, he's been playing great. So I think they're going to come in this divisional matchup in Tennessee, pick up the victory, and someone will finally stop this Colts insanity run. Then we take a look at the backup show with the Bengals and Vikings. I think I like the Vikings in this one. I think they have an overall better roster than the Cincinnati Bengals. So give me the Vikes in this one. Falcons and Panthers. I like the Falcons. Packers over the Browns. Seahawks and Saints. I am calling it right now. This is the trap game of the week.
Could
Seahawks over the
happen.
last.
Wind
It
shock.
could happen. The Seahawks over the last couple years have been one of the worst teams at home. They've lost their incredible home field advantage. The 12s are dead. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. They could very well lose this game. I think of last year, the Seahawks lost to the Giants in Seattle.
Oh, I know you
They
hated
have
that.
no reason to lose that game, and they did. Look out for this. This could be a trap game, but I'm going to have the Seahawks winning this one. Broncos, Chargers. This is going to be a very interesting game. Give me the Chargers in this one, though. Broncos really need a win, but I don't see it happening. Cowboys, Bears. Give me the Bears to finally win one. Cardinals, 49ers. Give me the 49ers. It's in San Francisco. And I think the Cardinals barely beat two pretty poor teams. I have some concerns about them. Chiefs, Giants. Give me the New York Football Giants. No,
Whoa.
so,
Okay.
so, someone's just gonna clip that five
Yeah.
seconds
Give it
and
for
be like, "This
bait.
guy's an idiot." But no, give me the Chiefs over the Giants. And then Lions Ravens game of the week. I like the Ravens in this one. It's in
I
Baltimore.
like that
I
we're
think they're
split.
yeah, they're it could go either way. I could see the Lions winning this game. It's a very compelling matchup because a couple years ago we saw these two face when they both had
Aspiration.
Super Bowl hopes, and the Ravens blew them out. So it's a little bit of a revenge game for the Lions. I see the Ravens winning this one in a close one, though.
Well, that'll wrap our week 3 predictions, but we always save our last 10 or so minutes here for college football because we got to make sure we touch on where we're at right now in life. So I want to say, coming out of this week, college wise, I actually don't have too much I want to talk about. Georgia Tech losing, or excuse me, Georgia Tech beating Clemson and making now a Clemson unranked team is funny. I have nothing other than that's
Yeah,
funny.
we, we,
Uh,
we both saw it coming. We both
we were,
predicted it.
we were like trap games. It could happen. It happened.
Yeah.
Clemson falls to 1-2. Georgia Tech is ranked again for the first time in I don't know how long actually. Been a while. I feel like. So good for them. Uh, Miami beat South Florida, so sorry to my graphic
Sorry,
creator.
Aggies.
I will no longer be talking about the South Florida Bulls. But the Hurricanes do their job and they go to 3-0. Um, Notre Dame, they ended up losing to Texas, what was it, Texas A&M by a
Texas
point.
A&M by a singular point.
So
What a game.
they're unranked, I think, right? They're unranked. Are they
I
unranked?
don't think they're unranked. I think
They are.
they're in like 21st or something like that.
Maybe.
Let me see
I
where
don't
they're
know. I don't
ranked.
know. Regardless, Notre Dame takes a loss right there to Texas A&M, who
Yeah,
I
they're
know
still
is
24,
ranked.
so
They're
they're barely
24.
ranked.
Okay, whatever. Um, Texas had a weak game against UTEP, but they ended up with the win. I don't want to touch on it too much 'cause I'm gonna give it one more week on the growing pains of Arch Manning. I'll give it one more
I
week.
will touch on it.
Oh, okay,
I
go ahead.
will
Go
actually.
ahead.
I I said this after they lost to Ohio State. Um, Arch Manning. Again, people need to pump the brakes even more. Now, this week I didn't hear as much about his bad performance, which I was happy about. But like this kid has not done anything in college football. For people to come in and instantly expect him to be a Heisman winner is incredible to me. Now, this is a bad performance. Don't get me wrong; it's a bad performance. But I think a lot of players of his experience would have these kinds of performances. So it's scary to think like a couple more bad games and people are just going to be writing him off totally, which is completely unfair to a player that's only played a couple games in college football. So I would like to see people not be as hard on him because he's if it weren't for his last name, people would not be talking about him at
He
all.
would just be a normal college quarterback.
Yeah,
Other notable games, oh, I guess kind of notable. Indiana beat the brakes off Indiana State, 73 to nothing.
yeah.
Uh,
They
that was
copied the Alabama game.
yeah, that was rough. Uh, I don't know any Indiana State fans though, so they're all right. Ohio State goes 3-0, shocker. Um, Surprised they only put up 37. Penn State
Yeah,
won. LSU beat the Gators. DJ Lagway, I am high on him, but my goodness, 5 picks is rough. He is a very much Anthony Richardson type quarterback, as I can see.
yeah,
Um, so LSU ekes out the win. Their defense really held in there. That's why they kind of won that game. Their offense didn't look that great, but 20 to 10 for them. Oregon won. Georgia beats Tennessee. I know this is the other game I wanted to mention before we kind of move into this current week, upcoming week. Actually, there's two things I want to say, but yeah, Tennessee. They ended up losing out to Georgia. Close game. Um, I mean, this is another game I wanted to hit on real quick. Uh, I know you have a lot to say about this. What do you think of that?
yeah. Georgia is a very exciting team right now. They, you on paper, looking at their roster and how they've been the last few years, you would think, they should be blowing out teams. They should probably beat Tennessee comfortably, but just something about them. You think of games like Georgia Tech last year, where they went to 8 overtimes with an unranked team. Georgia just has a knack for being in highly competitive games. Even with teams that you think they would like. I think we both agreed that they would beat Tennessee by a couple touchdowns, not an overtime thriller where they needed a missed field goal to even get into overtime. So um, I had Georgia winning the national championship coming into this year, but that pick is definitely looking in jeopardy if Georgia can't just lock in and blow teams out. Um,
My Ohio State pick looks better and better each week.
yeah, I did have Ohio State being the number one, the best team in the regular season, but then I had them losing a
That
fluke
Fable
rivalry.
Michigan, that's definitely not happening.
I will put it this way: they beat pretty much every team. I think in the playoffs they would beat every team in college football except for Georgia. Georgia's close, and I think Michigan because Michigan's just a rivalry game. You can't count on Ohio State beating Michigan when they haven't done it in years. So I just think I have a hard time seeing Ohio State just dominating Michigan and coming in and winning a sure game. I think it's going to be, I think their regular season game is going to be competitive. And if they match in the playoffs, it's going to be competitive as well.
A couple other games happened that I don't really think we need to hit on. Alabama won their game. Ole Miss won their game barely. They don't look very good. Um, the last thing I wanted to say was South Carolina. Lenora Sellers. He's hurt again, which sucks. 'Cause South Carolina actually looked really solid. Um, I don't have much to say about this team. I'm curious how they will perform now without him. Obviously, they did not enjoy losing him as they lost to Vanderbilt, but we'll see how they perform the rest of the season. Hopefully, it's not gonna stop their success, but we'll see. So yeah, not terribly much happened this week that I otherwise from that we didn't touch on already. So let's just real quick look ahead to the upcoming week of games before we wrap it out here. Um, Again, nothing too much on the slate, I don't think, Parker, but there's a couple things. We get to see ranked 17, which is Texas Tech, uh, versus a ranked 16 team in Utah.
Yes. I Utah's a weird team because a couple years ago we saw them make a push towards they were ranked pretty high in 2023. I don't remember exactly where,
Like
but they were
20,
they were
they were like 20th, I think,
yeah, they were a pretty
19th.
competitive team. And then 2024 they just fell off. Seems like they're back to being a really competitive school as they were 2 years ago. So I think you know Texas Tech could be in for a tough game here. It is in Utah, so I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. I think right now I'm gonna have Utah winning
I'll
it,
take
but
Utah as well.
I could go either way.
I will take Utah as well. I'm just gonna make the pick. I'm not even gonna discuss the game. Clemson plays Syracuse in a game that if they lose this game, they can just kiss the playoffs goodbye if they aren't already.
Yeah,
Um,
they've
they,
already been kissed goodbye. There's
they,
lipstick
it,
on their
if
playoff hopes.
it it's doable, but they would need to win out no matter what.
Yeah, yeah.
So I will say they will win against Syracuse, although Syracuse is a very good team for what they play, I should say, for who they play. They're not a football school, but what else is going on in the world of football this week?
Florida,
Tennessee is playing
Miami.
UA, huh?
Florida, Miami.
Florida, Miami. I was gonna get to
I
that.
see Miami winning that comfortably, but there is a rivalry there.
Yeah, I think Miami wins that game. As much as I'd love Florida to win, I love DJ Lagway, but I'm gonna take Miami here on that game. Tennessee plays UAB. They'll win that game. Oregon plays Oregon State. Um, Florida State. Okay, if they lose to Kent, we might have to throw a banner up in Kent because oh my,
They might put up 100 on them.
they've
They
been
might.
destroying teams this year. Oklahoma looks fantastic. They're playing Auburn, who's also ranked. Both teams kind of need to win this game to solidify themselves as a good SEC school this year. I think Oklahoma takes that game. Um, Ole Miss should not lose to Tulane, but they have been playing everybody close this year. Notre Dame plays Purdue, they should win. Michigan plays Nebraska, they should win. I think that's pretty much. Am I missing anything here? Hey, do you have any other games you want to hit on here?
No, I think that's about it.
So yeah. Oh wait, who's There's one other game. Wasn't it Iowa State's playing Illinois?
Illinois versus
Or,
Indiana.
or excuse me, I'm sorry. Illinois and Indiana are playing. Um, that's the one last game I wanted to hit on. This game, whoever loses will be unranked. I'm almost positive after. Um,
Illinois could be ranked if they lose, but Indiana won't if they lose.
um, I actually think Indiana will win this game. I think they're a more, I don't want to say complete team, but they just look. I trust them more against than Illinois. Illinois has historically never been a trustworthy team, so
Mhm.
I'll take Indiana in that game.
Yeah. So for me, I'm really impressed by what Illinois did this year, and this pick is not a knock on them at all. But I just think Indiana's a little better. It's in Indiana as well. They have that home field advantage. I think this can be a really tough game for Illinois. It's their first big test of this, really solid team. So they have a chance to go in and prove themselves. If they beat Illinois, that's a huge statement. But I don't see it happening. I see Indiana taking that one.
And unless you have anything else to comment on there, I think that'll do it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
So, with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in to our third football edition of Sideline to Speedway. I've been your host once again, Mekhi Winfrey, joined by Parker Merrey. We will see you guys next week after the conclusion of week 4 of college and week 3 of the NFL. Hopefully, you guys can come and tell us how right we were. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you, guys.